afternoon. Welcome to the STARS Calgary base. My name is John Griffiths. I'm the director of the STARS Emergency Link Centre, and I have the honour of serving as the MC for today's announcement. Safety is a core value here at STARS, and I know there are many of you today who are visitors to STARS, so we have a few important safety announcements to share. In the event of emergency, please do not all run onto the tarmac. That would not help the situation. There are 2 emergency exits. If you could proceed out to the left here, the back door, there's an exit, or preferably through the double doors over here by Leanne, our lovely receptionist. She's giving you a wave, and she will coordinate your safety. Out into the parking lot, and there's an area where you can stage, and that will be designated. Our washrooms are located just up these stairs. The door is propped open, and they're in the corridor, so if you like to use those, that's where you need to head. And although we're very excited to hear today's announcement, we do want to focus on that. So if you could please turn your cell phones either off or to silent, that would be great. STARS operates in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. And we acknowledge that our Calgary base is stationed on Treaty 7 territory, which includes the Siksika, Kanani, Piikani, Satana, Stoney Nakoda First Nation, and that the city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. Where I grew up, there is an old saying, wherever the royals visit, you can smell fresh paint. That's indicative of a special occasion, people preparing, and they get excited to welcome an honored guest. You may or may not smell fresh paint on the helicopter today, hopefully not. But we are very excited to welcome some honored guests with us today. First of all, Premier Danielle Smith. Secondly, MLA Martin Long. We have our partners from Alberta Health Services dotted around the room. I'd like to point out the incredible Dr. Greg and Linda Powell. And members of the STARS Board of Directors as well. Thank you for joining us. And then finally, of course, the members of STARS team who are joining us in the hangar today or watching us live this afternoon. Welcome. STARS has been saving lives in Alberta since 1985. We are a true Alberta success story, built by the community, for the community. As we approach our 40th anniversary next year, we are reminded how proud we are to share our storied history and how excited we are to help shape the future of critical care. And we are delighted to have our Premier with us to share an announcement about that exciting future. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Premier Danielle Smith.
Well, John, thank you so much, Catherine, as well, and Martin Long, our Parliamentary Secretary for Rural Health, Catherine Emberley, as I mentioned, President and CEO of STARS, John Griffiths, Director of STARS Emergency Link Centre, who I understand has been doing dispatch for 10 years and saving a lot of lives. In the meantime, 60,000 trips they've done. It is such an honor to be here at STARS headquarters in the great city of Calgary, and thanks to the STARS staff for making us feel so welcome and showing us around your impressive facility today, as well as the impressive view, traveling around and going over by way of the downtown and then onto Foothills and the Children's Hospital. We actually witnessed one of the transports that you were doing landing at the Foothills Hospital. I'll tell you, it's one thing to see your iconic helicopters, red helicopters from a distance, but it is something else entirely to see them up close and to be in one. It's a reminder of the extraordinary amount of skill your team members have and the heroic work that your organization does. We are just so fortunate to have STARS ready to assist in emergency situations, connecting rural and remote communities to critical health services when families need it, no matter where they are. And you can think of a number of situations, whether it's a farm accident or a hiker who gets injured in the backcountry, or a family of a child in medical distress far out on a country road, as recently happened to Jason Nixon, our Minister of Seniors, Community and Social Services, who is so grateful to you transporting his son Austin for the care that he needed at the hospital in Calgary. Hearing that chopper pounding in the distance is such an enormous relief for a family going through something like this. And of course, I hope most Albertans never have to see the inside of one of your helicopters, but if they ever do, they will be in good hands. STARS is a truly made in Alberta success story. Before it was founded, getting sick or injured far from a major medical center meant a long trip by road to the nearest hospital. For people requiring emergency surgery or complex medical care, a long journey meant a lower chance of survival. But all that changed in 1985 with the creation of Alberta's first rotary air ambulance program, Shock Trauma Air Rescue Service, STARS, as it has come to be known, changed the landscape of medical services in Alberta. And since that time, STARS has grown into an award-winning emergency service provider that served Albertans faithfully for close to 40 years. And you've been recognized globally as a leader in critical care transportation. Today, you've got bases in 3 provinces, a fleet of 9 helicopters, and hundreds of staff who fly thousands of life-saving missions a year. With more than 60,000 missions under your belt and an incredible safety record, STARS has earned Albertans' trust and confidence many times over. STARS is also a celebrated charitable cause in Alberta, raising more than $35 million every year to fund their operations. And our government is a proud supporter of the work that STARS does. I'm sorry that you lost an incredible patron and friend, Stan Grad, who I know just absolutely, to his dying breath, supported everything that you've done here. And I hope that you're able to continue with the incredible fundraising that he helped to launch. But this is an excellent example of a public-private partnership that works so well. It's a relationship we've come to rely on over the years. STARS has become a vital part of Alberta's EMS system, transporting critically ill and injured patients by air to medical facilities throughout the province. And without your expertise and resources, the province would be missing a critical component of our healthcare system and emergency services systems. That's why we're pleased to announce today that we've entered into a 10-year service agreement with STARS. They have the fleet, personnel, and medical expertise we need to optimize response times and improve patient outcomes in places where access to healthcare services is limited. Our government believes that every Albertan deserves access to the very best quality healthcare, no matter where they are in our province. This collaboration with STARS will help us to deliver exactly that by extending our reach to the remotest corners of Alberta and beyond, so that Albertans can always rely on access to the best emergency services. Thank you, and I'd like to invite Martin Long, who's our Parliamentary Secretary for Rural Health, to share more.
Thank you, Premier, and thank you to Catherine and the entire team at STARS for inviting us to be here today. I'm honored to be here on behalf of Minister LaGrange to speak about this 10-year contract and the pivotal role of air ambulances in providing timely access to health care for all Albertans. This agreement renews the partnership between the Alberta government and STARS. The agreement not only signifies a monumental step forward in strengthening air ambulance resources in the province, but also embodies our government's unwavering dedication to ensuring equitable access to quality healthcare services for every citizen of our province, regardless of their location. The significance of air ambulances in our healthcare system cannot be overstated. They serve as critical lifelines, bridging geographical barriers and providing swift access to specialized care in times of medical emergencies. Whether in urban centers or remote communities, every Albertan deserves timely and effective emergency medical assistance. Like my friend Sheldon, a farmer in one of the communities I represent, who is being transported to Edmonton for a heart emergency. STARS met EMS en route on the side of the highway and helped bring him back to life. He's alive today, largely because of the amazing team and work from STARS. As the Parliamentary Secretary for Rural Health and a rural Albertan myself, I have a vested interest in advocating for initiatives that address the unique healthcare needs of rural and remote communities. By investing in resources like air ambulances, we are not only saving lives, but also ensuring that every Albertan receives the care they deserve. Through this partnership with STARS, we are laying the foundation for sustainable long-term healthcare solutions that meet the diverse needs of our population. This is about more than just saving lives in moments of crisis. It's about building a healthcare system that prioritizes prevention, early intervention, and patient-focused care. As the government works to refocus the healthcare system and establish a dedicated acute care organization, I'm thrilled to support initiatives that will profoundly and positively affect emergency medical services in all communities for the better. By investing in initiatives and partnerships that strengthen the emergency medical services, we are investing in the health and well-being of all Albertans. As we look to the future, let's continue to champion initiatives that support inclusivity, accessibility, and excellence in healthcare delivery. Together, we can build a brighter and healthier future for all Albertans, where every individual can access the care they need when they need it. I'd now like to introduce Catherine Emberley, President and CEO of STARS, to provide a few remarks.
Well, what a day. We have an Alberta team in the playoffs. We've got beautiful blue sky, and this is a really historical moment for our organization. Premier Smith, MLA Long, friends from Alberta Health Services, thank you for taking time to be with us today and sharing this amazing news. We would also like to recognize Minister LaGrange for her continued support to make this announcement a reality. This is a historical day for STARS in critical care in Alberta, and we are so grateful for the government's unwavering support of our mission in enabling us to save lives every day. We would also like to recognize a few other special folks in the room with us today. The founders of STARS, Dr. Greg and Linda Powell, as well as some of our STARS board members, Mike Broadfoot, Richard Hodgkiss, and Mike Marsh. Thank you for being here. We also want to thank our entire volunteer board for all of their support and everything they do for STARS. And of course, we have to thank our wonderful STARS team in the room today. Your continued dedication to this organization is what makes days like this possible. We would not be here without your leadership and valuable insights. Thank you to all. Alberta has a wonderful legacy of innovation, of seeing opportunities, working collaboratively, and getting things done. STARS is one of those innovations. In 1985, here in Calgary, Dr. Greg Powell saw too many rural and remote patients not surviving because they couldn't get the critical care they needed in time. So what did? They innovated. They asked the community for help and support. We asked healthcare professionals to volunteer their time, and just like that, STARS was born. And here we are nearly 40 years later. We've completed over 60,000 missions across the prairies. That's tens of thousands of individuals and families who had access to the best care possible when they needed it the most, no matter where they were. And as an organization, we've grown since our start in 1985. We now have 3 bases here in Alberta, Calgary, Edmonton, and Grand Prairie, and have expanded across Saskatchewan and Manitoba. We have over 400 STARS employees who dedicate their time and energy to helping save lives every day. STARS was truly built by the community for the community. As a charity, our success as an organization would not be possible without the support we receive from our government partners and the communities we serve. Our partnership with Alberta government and Alberta Health Services has been critical to our long-term success, and we would not be able to do the work we do without their support. On behalf of the STARS employees, board members, and our patients, I want to sincerely thank Premier Smith, the Government of Alberta, and our entire team for their ongoing partnership and commitment to saving lives. The long-term funding announced today is a lifeline to our work and to our patients, and we are exceptionally grateful to be able to continue serving the Alberta community for many years to come. STARS is only one small part in the chain of survival. It is the dispatchers, emergency services on the ground, the receiving hospitals, and the many committed healthcare professionals across this great province who partner with us every day in delivering care and changing outcomes for people. We want to thank everyone for being here today. It's our honor to serve Albertans. We will continue to innovate and help shape the future of critical care in Canada for many years to come. Thank you so much for being here. We'd like to invite John to wrap up.
Thank you, Catherine. You speak for all of STARS in expressing our gratitude for the support of our partners in the provincial government. Thank you everyone who's joined us today in the hangar here for this wonderful announcement, either here or virtually. Our life-saving work at STARS would not be possible without your support. At this time, we're going to turn it to the Premier and her team for a question and answer period, after which today's event will conclude. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll begin our media Q&A for journalists in the room. I just ask you to approach the mic at the back of the room here. We'll start off with questions in the room before heading over to the phones. And without further ado, we'll go to our first at the mic here.
Hi, Sean Polzer, Western Standard.
Hi.
The STARS lottery has been kind of a fixture in Alberta for a very long time. Is this funding going to be enough to be a steady source of funding? Like, are we still going to see the lottery? Are we going to see the organization grow? What are some of the plans that are going to be coming up over the next 10 years?
Well, I can tell you from my perspective, I'll probably get Catherine to come up and answer as well. I was just asking her how much of the private sector community support they get versus how much we provide, and it's about 50-50. And so it's a significant portion to be able to provide the stabilization, but the incredible community partnership is really, I think, one thing that is so special about STARS, and I'm quite sure that I can only imagine that they're going to continue to grow. Catherine?
Yes, you will certainly see the lottery and all of our fundraising efforts for many years to come. We love this partnership. You've got the long-term stability of the government funding, but you also have the community stepping up, and that allows us to really innovate. And when you look in the back of this helicopter, some of the advanced care equipment we've been able to do is through our partnership. You also see logos on the helicopters, and those are other people. We really do appreciate that this is built by the community for the community, and that is certainly our intention into the future. Yeah. Thank you.
You've had the 1-year anniversary of the election, so I'm just kind of wondering how you'd sum up the past year, how you're looking forward to the next year, and if you were a hockey team, how would you sum up the opposition? They've sold 85,000 memberships, they're coming up, and does that change your game plan in any way?
My goodness, there's a triple-barreled question there, Sean. So let me answer the first one last. I was very pleased to see David Eby make good on his bet. You probably saw I delivered him a jersey, and he talked about how the Oilers are best team in Canada. Now it's for sure, since we're going on to the next round. I'm also sending a box of delicious Alberta rib steaks down to Governor Abbott. I haven't figured out what my bet's going to be with Governor DeSantis yet, but we're working on one and taking suggestions. As for the year that we've had, it's been amazing. I mean, one of the things that I look at year over year is just how much our team has come together. I've got incredible ministers. I've got an incredible caucus. We have an aggressive agenda. I've put forward 260 mandate items in the mandate letters. Plus, there's been emerging issues. We've got about 400 initiatives that my civil service is working on. We're 25% complete, 61% started, and we're going to get that entire agenda implemented by the time of the next election. I think one of the highlights, of course, as we got into hazard season was that we needed to make some significant improvements in how we fought fires. And I think that Todd Lowen's done a tremendous job of bringing in night vision helicopters and infrared cameras with the UAV, unmanned aerial vehicles, the night firefighting, the fact that we started firefighting season early, and now we're in a position where we can help others as they get through firefighting season and hazard season. That was we had to do some legislative changes in order to support that. But there were a number of other initiatives that we put forward. A major one, the healthcare restructuring, that's really just getting underway. There'll be a lot more work to do through the summer and fall in being able to implement on that. And very proud of the great work that we're doing to address the needs of our most vulnerable with our recovery-oriented system of care, which is now beginning to see all of the different pieces fall into place. We've made tremendous progress in the last year. We've got a lot more to do, but those would be some of the highlights.
Thanks, Sean. We'll go to our next at the mic.
Hey, Tim with CTV. The majority of Albertans are opposed to mining in the Rockies, the large majority of Albertans. So why is your government supporting a new application by Northback Holdings?
I would say that it's an independent process. There were 4 advanced mining projects that the Alberta Energy Regulator has to consider. And the coal companies have to do the work of demonstrating that they can do development in a way that satisfies community concerns and addresses the environment. And that's an independent process. The Alberta Energy Regulator is going through that. And I'll just let them do their work. But I do think it's up to the coal companies to defend their products and projects and to bring the public on board.
There was a letter sent to the regulator. So you mentioned the word independence there a number of times. What do you say to Albertans that are now, I'm on social media, I'm reading a lot of people are worried about the regulator's independence because of that letter that was sent out?
If I understand it, there were 4 advanced projects. I think the minister just wanted to provide clarity about what those 4 were. I don't know that they had been identified. And these are ones that are brownfield sites. They had been developed in the past, perhaps in some cases not reclaimed particularly well. And so I think there was just some clarity about which ones might be able to have an opportunity to go through the regulatory process. So I'll just let that play out. And as I said, it's up to the coal companies, I think, to get the social license by satisfying community concerns and the environmental concerns.
Thanks.
Yeah, you bet.
Thanks, Tim. And do we have any more questions from media in the room? Yeah, we'll go to you at the mic.
It's Roger from Radio Canada. I just want to ask if maybe the Premier, do you have any sense of how much this 10-year agreement is going to cost the government?
Let me just get some of those stats here for you. Hold on one second. All right, so the contract is from March 15, 2024 to March 31st, 2033. So 9 years and 2 weeks. The contract value is $15 million annually, and it was negotiated based on STAR's operating costs. Past funding levels were based on increases in demand and utilization, and our government collaborated with STARS to reach a funding level that they think and we think will give that long-term stability. I should also say that we do have companion contracts as well, signed with HALO, which is in the Medicine Hat service area, as well as HERO, which is in the Fort McMurray service area. Those are very rural and remote communities, and so they also have 5-year contracts based on providing that stability, and then they continue to go out into the community and get additional funds raised.
Thank you. And seeing no more questions in the room, I'm going to head over to the phones. Operator, could you put through our first caller, please?
Catherine Gregowski, Alberta Today.
Good afternoon. Have a couple of questions on some of the federal bills. So the Pharmacare Act cleared 3rd reading, and I wanted to get some clarification on where you stand on single payer and eliminating that copay. So you've said it's not universal because it's only 2 drugs, but as you work through that deal with the federal government, will you be working to eliminate copays at all for these 2 medications, or what is the status of those negotiations?
Well, the federal government is offering their program, and we'll see what kind of uptake they have on that. We have a 5,000 drug plan in our program. We offer it to low-income individuals on AISH. We also have a program for those over age 65, and we've told the federal government that we'd be happy to opt out and get them to piggyback on our program so that we can expand the services. So I believe Minister LaGrange is in the process of having that discussion, but we are so far ahead in being able to offer a comprehensive plan. We certainly wouldn't want to take a step backwards. So we're happy to partner with the federal government in helping to expand our plan.
Okay, and on Bill C-59, Charlie Angus has kind of pushed back on your concerns about that, saying you should want the oil and gas industry to tell the truth. So that bill is before the Senate right now. I'm wondering what steps are you taking in response to that bill? Are you talking to senators? Are you considering legal action?
Well, maybe I'll be the first person prosecuted under the Act, because I can tell you that our oil and gas industry has got a better environmental record than anywhere in the world, and I'm going to continue to celebrate that. They aspirationally want to reach net zero by 2050, and I'm going to support them every step in the way, whether it's through carbon capture, utilization, and storage, or the adoption of small modular nuclear, or working on direct air capture. And so I will not stop promoting our industry. In fact, I want to double the production in the oil and natural gas sector. And so if I have to be the only one out there who, we got some helicopters landing in the background, so I hope you can still hear me. But if I've got to be the only one out there that is going to defend the industry, then I'm happy to do that. But I think it's outrageous that federal politicians would stand in the way of the incredible amount of work that our industry is doing in advancing emissions reduction, as well as continuing to provide the world the energy that they need and eliminate global energy poverty. I don't know if you can hear me because it's kind of loud on this side.
I think we're still good.
Okay.
And we have time for one last question. Operator, could you put through the next caller, please?
Let me just say one more thing. But there's another constitutional challenge in the works here. I mean, free speech is a guaranteed charter right, and energy companies, as well as provincial politicians, have the right to be able to talk about their products and to be able to sell it to the world. So I think they've gone way, way over their skis on this one, and I regret that they've gone in this direction. But ultimately, if it lands in court, that's where we're going to have to settle this out. We have a multitude of court actions against the federal government for stepping out of its constitutional jurisdiction. This is just one more example, and we'll fight them. We've won a couple, and I think we'll win more.
Thank you, Premier. Operator, could you put through our last caller, please?
Sean Amato, City News.
Hi there. A question for you on affordability. So recent polling for CBC found that more than half of Albertans are struggling to pay their bills. What is your government doing right now to help those folks?
We've done a lot. We indexed the personal income tax system. We indexed AISH. We indexed our seniors benefit. We brought through a 25% reduction for seniors in registry services, and we'll look at doing more. We've passed a couple of bills in the legislature, and there will be more to regulate the what we are now calling the rate of last resort, so that we don't see the kind of price spikes that we've seen on electricity in the past. We've passed a bill that directs the City of Calgary to change the way they calculate their local access fees, so they do not have a bunch of windfall revenues coming from taxes. We're going to do more on the issue of distribution to ensure that electricity prices stay low. We put in place a limitation on year-over-year increases for insurance so that good drivers would not see an increase above the rate of inflation. We put in a tuition year-over-year rate cap so students do not see an increase of more than 2%. We've extended the amount of time that they have to be able to pay off their or start paying their debt. The tax-free or the period has now been moved from 6 months to 12 months. We kept the fuel tax off for longer than our legislation had allowed for or prescribed, saving I think over $2 billion for people as they were filling up their gas and diesel tanks. We also provided an interim measure with rebates to Albertans for their electricity bills so that we could see them through that tough time. And those are some of the just some of the things I can think of off the top of my head. But we're prepared to do more. What we're happy to see is that the level of year-over-year increases in inflation are moderating. When we were putting these measures in, you have to remember, we were looking at 7 to 8% annual inflation rates. We're now down in the band where even the Bank of Canada is talking about reducing rates. And I hope they do, because that is the biggest cost that people are seeing, is when they go to renew their mortgage and they're seeing rates that are double what they used to have on, that is ending up doubling their mortgage payment. When landlords are going to renew their mortgages and they see a doubling in the cost, they're passing that on in the form of rent increases. And so we're very hopeful that we'll see the Bank of Canada start moving in the other direction. In the meantime, we're working with the federal government to figure out a way to get more affordable housing and attainable housing built. A few of the measures that we took in the legislative session was to remove the property taxes off of affordable housing projects. We're also using a community revitalization levy so that will qualify for attainable housing projects. And we're allowing municipalities to have more flexibility to use the tax system to attract more housing construction. And it's all working. I mean, we've seen a 67% year-over-year increase in our housing starts. So we'll do more of the same. And we're working with our municipalities to remove some of the regulatory barriers to get those projects approved. Our view is that the way that you provide more affordable and sustainable housing is you build more homes and build more rental properties. And the business community is responding, municipalities are responding. It takes a little bit of time to get some of those completed, but we're absolutely heading in the right direction.
And did you have a follow-up, Sean?
Your government recently also brought back that gas tax and shelved the promised tax break. Were those mistakes?
Well, we didn't shelve anything. We are going to implement our entire agenda before the next election. We have a schedule for implementing the personal income tax. Is that working? Which will begin in 2026 and be fully implemented in 2027. Because one of the things that we have heard is that the Alberta public wants us to balance the budget. So we have to make sure that we have the room and the dollars to be able to deliver that tax cut so that we don't end up running a deficit. And when it comes to the fuel tax program, we kept it off for much longer than the program would prescribe. And once again, if the oil and gas prices, or if WTI trends above $80, then we'll reduce it again. If it trends above $90, we'll eliminate it altogether. So I'm pleased to see that because prices have moderated, we're also seeing the impact of that at the pumps.
Thank you, and that's all the time we have for questions today. Thank you, everybody,
Thanks,
for joining
everyone.
us.